This government wants the best for Britain's high streets. We know how central they are to the strength and vibrancy of our villages, our towns and our cities. We know how hard small business owners work, and we know how badly they were let down by the previous government. Shops shuttered, council funding cut, business rates left totally unreformed. We will not let decline continue, and we are already taking steps to arrest it. We are protecting high street businesses from upward-only rent review clauses and introducing a strong new community right to buy to help communities safeguard valued community assets such as pubs and shops on their high streets. We are pushing ahead with high street rental auctions, which are helping bring long-term empty shops back into use. Where premises have been vacant for too long, councils can auction the right to rent them, offering 1 to 5 year leases to new businesses and community groups, helping to create more vibrant high streets. We also launched the Winter of Action to combat retail crime, a nationwide crackdown on crime and antisocial behaviour to protect shoppers and retail workers. As well as this, we are investing in local communities through the £5 billion Pride in Place programme announced last September, and investing to support growth, including through the new Local Growth Fund. Around 1 in 3 businesses also continue to benefit from small business rates relief, Madam Deputy Speaker, and don't pay any business rates at all, while 85,000 benefit from reduced business rates as this relief tapers. At the budget, we also extended the small business rates relief second property grace period for another 2 years, which is a really important change, meaning that businesses expanding into a second property will retain the support as they grow. But we know that there is more to do. And before I turn to today's announcements, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to run through the 3 main components of the changes to business rates that are taking place in April for all businesses, and to explain the steps that the government took at the budget last year on business rates. First, the underlying and significant reforms to the system that the Chancellor set out as part of our commitment to transform business rates in England over this Parliament. We have implemented permanently lower multipliers for eligible retail, hospitality and leisure properties, with the multiplier falling by around 12p or 25% on the 1st of April. Some of this is as a result of the overall reduction in multipliers between revaluation periods, but the further 5 pence reduction announced by the Chancellor is on its own worth nearly £1 billion for the 750,000 retail, hospitality and leisure businesses that are the lifeblood of our high streets. We are paying for this support for the high street through higher rates on the top 1% of most expensive properties. This includes many large distribution warehouses such as those used by online retail giants. Let's be crystal clear. Before our reforms, a mid-sized high street business faced the same multiplier or tax rate as a warehouse used by an online giant. That was the system that we were left with. Now, they will pay, the mid-sized high street business, around 38 pence in the pound, and the large warehouse will pay around 51 pence in the pound. That's 33% more. And this is a sizable reform, and it is here for good. The second component of business rates announced at the budget was the revaluation. All non-domestic properties are revalued independently every 3 years for business rates purposes. New valuations will come into effect in April, and I want to take the opportunity, Madam Deputy Speaker, to thank the independent valuers in the Valuation Office Agency who carry out the work. The government didn't take the easy approach of kicking the post-COVID revaluation into the long grass. Instead, we introduced a significant transitional support package because we knew that some sectors were seeing large increases in their rateable values after the pandemic. We are capping bill increases in each of the next 3 years for those seeing the largest rises, and spending a total of £4.3 billion on this and other interventions. I want to say something specific here, Madam Deputy Speaker, about hotels. The government recognises that their rateable values have increased significantly since the pandemic, which means the caps on increases that we have implemented are particularly important for them. But it is right that we look at this further, and we will therefore review the way that hotels are valued to ensure that it accurately reflects the market for this sector. The third important point of context, Mr. Speaker, is the tapering away of the temporary pandemic relief for high street businesses. The previous government went into the election with plans to withdraw this relief overnight in 2025. That would have been a harsh and sharp removal of support. It would have pushed up bills for independent high street businesses overnight by 300%. That is reckless and it is irresponsible. Instead, we have taken a different approach. We extended the retail, hospitality and leisure relief this year at 40%, and we are unwinding it over the coming years. The jumping off point for any business currently receiving a 40% discount is their current bill, not their bill without relief.
Your personal data could be exposed right now without you even knowing it. And if you want it removed, use incogni.com/GB News in the description now and get 60% off an annual plan on us. Incogni reach out to the data brokers on your behalf and request that your information be deleted from their databases. And they'll keep sending removal requests to make sure your data stays gone. Sometimes your information ends up on strange, obscure websites that automated tools just can't reach. And that's why Incogni just launched their unlimited plan with a feature called custom removals. With this, you can submit any link where your personal information appears, literally paste in the URL, and their privacy team will investigate and work to get it removed. And getting started is super easy. Hit the link in the description, create an Incogni account, and tell them whose data you want removed. Grant them permission to work on your behalf, and then all you've got to do is sit back and relax. They'll keep you updated along the way. Incogni is totally risk-free for 30 days. If you try it, it's not for you, you'll get a full refund. So take back control of your personal data today with Incogni. Use our code GBNews at checkout via the link in the description, and you'll get 60% off an annual plan.
The budget decisions then led to the following outcomes. First, over half of ratepayers will see their bills either flat or falling next year. That's over half. Second, for properties that do see their bills increase from the 1st of April, most will see their increases capped at 15% or less, or £800 for the smallest. Third, bills will adjust to new valuations, but our caps mean that this will happen gradually, and high street businesses will benefit from permanently reduced multipliers for the long term. This is a fair and a reasonable approach, and as set out with the budget, in total we're spending over £4 billion in the next 3 years to limit the scale of bill increases for those who are either losing reliefs or seeing their rateable values increase. In the coming financial year, because of our interventions, the business rate system is raising the same amount of revenue as it was forecast to before the budget in the spring of 2025, not billions and billions more as opposition MPs seek to claim, more or less the same. Madam Deputy Speaker, that is the shape of the policy that we set out at budget, and because business rates is rather complicated, I hope you'll forgive me that I did want to set that out in full. However, this government does want to go further to support pubs. Pubs are the cornerstone of so many communities. They are essential to the social and cultural life of so many places across the country. And I've heard clearly from members on the government benches just how important they are. I want to thank colleagues who've engaged constructively and privately with me on this issue in recent weeks. Whether they represent constituencies in coastal or rural communities, towns or cities, their representations have been invaluable, and their constituents should know that most of the politics they see in the papers isn't what matters. It's the conversations and the advocacy MPs provide in these corridors that can make the difference. In particular, the member for Bournemouth East has been a relentless advocate for businesses in his constituency, as has the member for the Isle of Wight West and the member for Redditch. And in her role as the chair of the APPG for pubs, let me thank the member for Warrington North for her engagement too on this matter. Mr. Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, forgive me, pubs haven't had the support they needed for too long under the Conservatives. Members opposite claim to care about pubs, but where were they when the number of pubs fell by 7,000 between 2010 and 2024? They were in government. They let the number of pubs in our communities fall by a fifth. The Conservatives also allowed the revaluation to go ahead with a business rates methodology for pubs that no longer has the support of the sector. Before the budget, every pub sector body was broadly signed up to the methodology used for valuing pubs and had lent its support to the principles set out in the Valuation Officer's Guide. But since the budget, these same sector bodies have withdrawn their support. The government acknowledges their concerns and will therefore be carrying out a review of the pub valuation methodology, which will report in time to be implemented at the next revaluation. While this review is ongoing, and given the particular challenges that pubs have faced over the long term under the previous government, we are stepping in to provide support for pubs in the next 3 years. Today, I can confirm that from April, every pub in England will get 15% off its new business rates bill on top of the support announced at budget. Pubs' bills will then be frozen in real terms for a further 2 years. This support is worth £1,650 for the average pub just next year and will mean that around 3/4 of pubs will see their bills either fall or stay the same next year. Then bills will be frozen in real terms for the next 2 years. This decision will mean...
Order. I'm going to very gently say to the Minister, it was always open to him to ask for extra time, and we can't find any record of him having done so. He's got 10 minutes already, and there seem to be 3 more pages. So I am going to allow the opposition spokespersons more time as well, because this is an important statement, and I think he wants to finish, but it's very unfair to exceed the time by what I reckon will be 50%. Minister.
Last orders.
Madam Deputy Speaker, let me apologise profusely for not letting you know in advance. This is the first time I've done one of these statements, and I will not make the same mistake again. And I'm glad that the same courtesy will be afforded to the Shadow Chancellor. I look forward to hearing his full 15 or so minutes of remarks. I'm sure they will be entertaining for all of us. I will make progress now, Madam Deputy Speaker. We can hear more from the Shadow Chancellor. This decision will mean that the amount of business rates paid by the pub sector as a whole will be lower in 2028-29 than it is today. This week is also Independent Venue Week, so it is particularly appropriate that I can announce also that our package will apply to music venues too. Many live music venues are valued as pubs, and many pubs are grassroots live music venues. It would not be right to seek to draw the line so tightly so as to include some and not others. I want to thank MPs who've made constructive representations on this issue in recent weeks. In the meantime, we are pressing ahead with wider regulatory reforms. Building on the new licensing policy framework at budget, we are working with the sector to ensure that local authorities are using this to ease licensing decisions on the ground. As part of our ongoing licensing reforms, I can also announce today that pubs and other licensed venues will be able to open until 1 a.m. or 2 a.m, depending on when the game starts, for home nation games in the later stages of the Men's Football World Cup this summer. And we will legislate to increase the number of temporary events notices for pubs and other hospitality venues, whether that is to help them screen World Cup games or other community and cultural events. This government is committed to helping pubs build sustainable business models over the long term. In the spring, the government will consult on further loosening planning rules to benefit pubs, helping them add new guest rooms or expand their main room without planning applications. We will also continue to engage with the sector to ensure other retail, leisure and hospitality premises have sufficient planning flexibility.
This is not acceptable. I'm going to be quite honest, the front bench have got to respond. When it's meant to be 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes. If people tell me in advance, I'm willing to work with them. But you just can't carry on. I take it you're now coming to the end and the back page, not the middle pages. Minister. No, I want you to end it. Quickly.
May I send my apologies, Mr. Speaker, for not letting you know in advance that the statement would be running over 10 minutes.
Can I just say gently, are you not advised that it's 10 minutes? The departments, we have people within departments that's meant to advise ministers how long they've got. How on earth have we got to a speech that doesn't, it could be 20 minutes. It's unfair to members here, there's other business. Please, this House should be shown the respect it deserves. And unfortunately, we're not getting it. I'm here to protect members, not for ministers to take advantage. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I will wrap up very quickly and I want to apologise again. Mr. Speaker, this government also understands that things are not easy out there. Today's announcement is about additional support for pubs, but we do understand it's a tough time for other businesses on the high street. We've already taken significant steps to acknowledge this and support businesses, including £4.3 billion of business rate support at the budget. But over the last decade, consumers have changed their habits, increasingly working from home and shopping online, and these trends continue to make it harder for high street businesses. So today, I'm announcing that later in the year, the government will bring forward a high street strategy to reinvigorate our communities. We will work with businesses and representative bodies to bring this strategy together. It will be a cross-government strategy, and we will be looking at what more government can do to support our high streets. Mr. Speaker, to conclude, this government has already started the work of reforming our business rate system, and any potential changes to business rates will be considered at the budget in the usual way. We, and this side, have the right economic plan for Britain and will back our high streets and our pubs every step of the way.
Shall I chance the Exchequer Milstride?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the mood of the House is that 10 minutes is more than enough for the honourable gentleman, although I should say that I am grateful to him for having given me advance sight of his statement.
Can I say you have got some extra time if you do need it, and the same with the Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Speaker, that is much appreciated. Mr. Speaker, is that it? After all this time, after weeks of telling our local pubs that help was on the way, this is all they get. A temporary sticking plaster that will only delay the pain for a few, while thousands of businesses despair as their bills skyrocket. The Labour Party's manifesto, Mr. Speaker, promised to completely replace the business rates system. They said they would create a system which levels the playing field for our high streets and supports entrepreneurship and investment. Well, we're waiting, Mr. Speaker, because so far what we have seen is the exact opposite of what our local businesses were promised. Business rates soaring across the board. Pubs, which despite the temporary relief announced today, will still end up in time with bills over 70% higher than they are today. The Federation of Small Businesses have calculated that for a typical medium shop or restaurant with a rateable value of around £50,000, their business rates will increase by 71% over the coming years. Hotels, Mr. Speaker, it is over 100%. Our ministers expect them to be grateful for some temporary relief, tweaks to multipliers and changes to licensing. Mr. Speaker, we on this side of the House have been clear. Support must be permanent. We have to cut business rates for our high streets to give certainty to local businesses. And it must be far wider than what the government has announced today. Not just pubs, but the whole of the retail, hospitality and leisure sectors, which bring life to our high streets and town centres. We, on this side of the House, would introduce not just temporary reductions in rates, but completely abolish business rates for thousands of pubs, shops and restaurants across our country.
That's exactly what's needed.
These huge tax rises we are seeing from this government are a choice, Mr. Speaker.
We